Hey everybody, Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, and whining works! So first and foremost, I want to draw attention to this tweet that I made a couple of days ago that says, an appeal to the hashtag YGOGenesys team, can we please have the Chaos Origins points update ASAP instead of waiting until the 26th through 28th? So if you're unfamiliar, in the previous points update, the Genesys team said there would be a subsequent points update specifically for the cards releasing in the upcoming Yu-Gi-Oh! Set Chaos Origins sometime between the 26th and the 28th. Now, this is kind of frustrating because the NAWCQ is like the next week. So if you are an advanced player, you can start testing for the Chaos Origins format the moment the box breaks happen. But if you're a Genesys player, you don't know what's going to be good because if something is unpointed versus if something is pointed is night and day in terms of its playability. So this gives us another week not only to test, but also to get cards in. Like a significant amount of playing Genesys is going to the vendors at the event and asking for specific cards which they won't have because they're not playable in advanced. So it is absolutely necessary that we know as early as possible what is suspect for playability. And shockingly, they did it. They uploaded it today, June 22nd, a full 4 to 6 days before they previously were going to. Let's just go through it, I suppose. It says, just so everyone knows the schedule, the Central American Genesis Championship at the WCQ has happened, but we're writing this before the South America or North America Genesis Champions. So the South America one, when you read this, has happened for you, but not for us as we write this. This is fine. The South American Genesis event, by the way, was really interesting. It was pretty well attended, especially for a South American WCQ event. And I do also want to say a lot of the decks that came out of that event are super interesting. That first place Fairy Tale Brew has a lot going on. These values don't take these events into account since two haven't happened yet, and we don't want to alter the results too much based on a single event, and also they couldn't just because Chaos Origins only encompasses a small amount of cards. But here we go. Let's talk about the battles ones. So Caster to 6, Tellarknight Singian to 6, Tellarknight Constellar Delteros to 10, Lev Shadow Fusion to 10, Void Unleashing to 10, Fountain to 6, Junkmeister to 6, Overtuning to 10. So a lot going on here. First and foremost, I want to say, thank goodness there's a significant amount of hits to Teller. There are a couple of things that Teller can do that functionally FTKs. I know Monsieur Blunder has been doing okay with a Mjolnir lock, but that's available to other decks and irritating, but not the worst in the world. The big scare with respect to this deck is Rongo Nimiad, which is still playable. This cuts off its ability to do it super consistently. On the note of very powerful floodgates that Battles of Legend Glorious Gallery decks get to access, El Shadal Winda is actually pretty competitively costed, and the new cards in battles make it way easier to do it than I am comfortable with. Lev to 10 and Void Unleashing to 10 is a huge hit. Fountain to 6 is a little strange to me. I don't think the problem with Hero has anything to do with the things that Fountain is enabling. I guess they just want to make it difficult to get to Dark Law, which the Masked Hero line accesses super easily, but this doesn't change the math too much. Of course, the thing we should be scared about with respect to Hero is its ability to access Cosmo. And then Junkmeister and Overtuning, I believe these are on here because they fill holes left by cards in KT. Overtuning is a mechanism by which you can get tuners that you wouldn't be able to otherwise. Let's do the Chaos Origin cards. So I do think that it is probably right to make these cards unplayable. And that sounds rough to be like, okay, new cover set, maybe a little under the power level necessary for advanced. Let's try it out in Genesis, and then they're just going to kill it. But these cards are very good in Genesis. And in fact, they describe in here that they expect it to be good in advanced. So for that reason, we don't want the Genesis and the advanced formats to look exactly the same. They've got Black Chaos to 20, Griffo to 10, Celtic Mystic to 20, Light and Darkness Ritual to 5, and Mind Shuffle to 40. Like that a lot. They've hit a little of the Invoked and Phantom Knight stuff, but I'm going to be completely honest with you. I think both of these are fine. Alistair the Reminiscent to 4, Iwas to 2, Vikriam to 2, Hyper Invoked Eon to 15, and then Decayed Cloak 4, Doomed Sorlet 5, Malevolent Scythe 12, Rank of Magic Requiem is 1 because it's a rum and it interacts with some hundo point cards. These are fine. I mean, I don't think there's too much to be scared about here. I've spoken a little bit at length about the secret 3-slop deck that is actually very powerful in Genesis, and some of these Phantom Knights cards would be right at home in that. Putting any point total on them makes it kind of difficult for the deck, which is already really, really malleable based on where you want to allocate the points. Start making some hard choices that I don't think they'll be able to resolve efficiently enough to win the WCQ. The Invoked hits are painful. I know a lot of people who liked Invoked in Genesis, but I do like, if you're unfamiliar, the Sacred Beast stuff is pretty underpointed relative to where I think it should be. It says, there's a bit of danger from the self-multiplying cards, and Summoner is a bit of a do-everything, but you'll have plenty of points to play around with. Summoner to 5, Martyr to 2, Sacred Beast Thunderclap to 2, Abyss to 1. This is fine. I think that these cards are really, really at home in Genesys. I think it's a type of deck that almost justifies the existence of the format, so I like the fact that they are being pointed low. Gadgets are overmatched by today's cards, but Blitzclick is good at scratching the itch for that particular brand of yesterday's gameplay. They shouted out yesterday's gameplay, today's cards. Yikes! So they are right here in the Blitzclick is like Gadgets if they were epic. And they've hit it to 4, 4, and 5, which puts it kind of in league with First Wave KT. I will be playing around a significant amount with these cards. And, of course, the Medius cards get hit to shit. June Pride to 25, Thea Realize past Lull to 5, both incredibly powerful cards. And Allegheny Destroyer, again, I don't really have too much of an understanding about how the chess cards interact with existing cards, but I have to imagine what they're talking about here is Beals, I think. Anyway, here's some goodies that they want moved. They have correctly figured out that one of these cards is secretly just called by the grave, but we've got Pharaoh the Primordial Goddess to 20, Glitch Culch Nullgainer to 10, woof. Pot of Sloth to 10, puts it in line with the other pot cards, Ragged Record of Rights to 10, Superconductive Plasma Blast to 5, Witness of the Ancient to 33, Thundercrash Snarecrow to 10, Mortalux Heruver to 20, and 3 Champs to 10. Rest assured, I will still find 10 for 3 Champs. So not too much to talk about here with respect to the individual cards, except thank you for updating us so early. This is a lot of changes, and Chaos Origins and Glorious Gallery are 2 exceptionally powerful sets with huge implications both on Advanced and, of course, Genesis. So the earlier we get them, the better. I think they've done what's necessary to box out the absolute worst case scenario, which is people show up with Teller FTKs. I think that they are really reaching to kind of delineate this from Advanced with the hits to the Chaos stuff. And there's a couple of decks I'm super excited about as a result of this. I think the Sacred Beasts and the Blitz Clicks are really well positioned. I do want to say there's a couple of decks that I think are quite good and currently undervalued by the points list. I've been playing a lot of Fairy Tale, so I'm definitely like really, really biased here. But that deck has not gotten any scrutiny, I think, on the points list, which is quite good for it, especially because it just did well at the South American WCQ. And there's no hits to Melfi on here. There's like 3 or 4 new Melfi cards that are really powerful, and the existing Melfi stuff is at 0. So I think you will have to be prepared for those as well. But all in all, really, really appreciate them coming out early. Really, really appreciate them being willing to kind of break with what they said in order to benefit the format. And I'm going to get testing right now, literally this second. All right, bye.